At its heart, the ghost of a star. It's a white dwarf. White, hot, small, but unbelievably dense. In the star's dying moments, its atoms fused and squeezed together, making it so dense that just a teaspoon of this white dwarf would weigh 1 ton. It's a chilling premonition of our sun's fate. 6 billion years from now, it'll become a white dwarf. Its death will herald the end of life on Earth. It makes you wonder how many other worlds have been and gone. Stories left untold. Celestial books lost forever. But the greatest story of them all is still to be told. We must go back through time to the very first chapter to tell the story of how the universe began. The scattered remains of a dead star. A nebula, the Crab Nebula. We're 6,000 light years from home, deep inside a stellar graveyard. We've learned so much, seen things we'd never have believed possible. Now, sights like this, wonders once beyond imagination, we've taken our stride. We're ready. Ready to face whatever lies ahead. Determined to reach the edge of the universe. It looks dead, but maybe this is just the calm after the storm. After a massive explosion. Powerful enough to turn a huge star into a cloud of dust and gas. A supernova. The eye of the storm, a spinning, pulsating star, a pulsar. Gravity must have squeezed the giant star's core down to this. It's just 20 kilometers across, unimaginably dense. One pinhead of this would weigh hundreds, maybe millions of tons. As it shrank, like a figure skater spinning on the spot, arms outstretched, then pulling them in, it began to spin faster. 2 beams of light, energy, radiation, spinning 30 times a second, powering the huge cloud of dust and gas. There's so much radiation here, more even than on the sun. That was easily the deadliest thing we've encountered so far. Once, it would have terrified us. But now we realize that without the dangers, there'd be no wonders. Without the nightmares, there'd be no dreams. Getting a strange sensation. A feeling, as though there's something bad out here. A malevolent presence. The one thing we didn't want to encounter. Impossibly black, blotting out the stars behind it. We are staring into the face of extinction. The remains of a giant star. A black hole. Instead of contracting to a white dwarf or a pulsar, it just kept on going. Shrinking, until it got so small it's just a few kilometers across. Far denser than a pulsar and impossible to resist. Stray too close and there's no turning back. Now we know why it's a black hole. Its gravity is so intense, not even light can escape. This asteroid, it's a lump of solid rock, but it's actually stretching, being dragged towards the gaping hole. Inside, there's no matter as we know it. No time, no space. All the rules of physics collapse. The asteroid is gone. Truth is, nobody really knows where. We're looking at the limit of human understanding. There could be millions of black holes creeping around our galaxy. More perhaps than all the stars in the sky. But we wouldn't see them until it was too late. Like this star, spiraling, disappearing down an invisible plug hole. Who's to say we don't live inside a vast black hole? That the whole universe isn't inside one right now, inside another universe. Think about it for too long and your mind reels. Sometimes it feels like the more we see, the less we know. But we do know our galaxy is more complex and more dangerous than we ever imagined. And we're still in our own galaxy, the Milky Way. The vastness of the universe beyond still lies ahead. The wonders, the dangers, the secrets, they're out there. But first, we've got to find a way out of the Milky Way. "7,000 light years from home, still deep inside our own galaxy. It's as though we're in a forest thick with trees, each so beautiful, so fascinating. It's impossible to look beyond, to see the bigger picture. We have to find a way through, reach the clearing at the galaxy's edge. Only then can we begin to understand where it and we all began. But faced with sights like this, it's hard to leave. A colossal glowing cloud topped by these great towers of dust. The pillars of creation. Like a gateway into the far galaxy. Both pillars studded with tiny protrusions. Embryonic star systems. Each one the size of our solar system. Another monument to nature's astonishing creativity. We have to ignore its captivating beauty, its siren song, tear ourselves away, in order to carry onwards towards the edge of the galaxy. Dazzled by the Milky Way's beauty, we've been blinded to its terrors and strayed into a cosmic minefield. Like an explosion in slow motion, giant clouds of gas are bursting out of this star. A massive star, millions of times brighter than our sun. It's going into meltdown. The fuel that sustains it is running out. The nuclear reactions that power it winding down. we're watching its death throes. Eventually, the core will implode. The result? A new black hole. An even bigger, dangerously unstable star. But this one's about to explode. And when a star this big dies, it's 100 times more violent than a supernova. Somehow we've stumbled into the most violent star death imaginable. A hypernova. The core's collapsed. It's becoming a black hole. And that's the shockwave, surging through the star, ripping its outer layers into space. There's lethal radiation everywhere, enough to have a catastrophic effect on any planet unlucky enough to be nearby. When virtually every species on Earth was wiped out 450 million years ago, the culprit may have been one of these. Deadly hypernovas, frozen comets, scorched planets, white dwarfs, red giants, Earth. Tiny drops in a vast pool of white light. Our home galaxy, the Milky Way. We want to know where we fit in. Here's our answer. Civilizations, past and present. Everyone that's ever lived. The smallest bug, the highest mountain. All of it. Invisible. Not even a tiny speck. Our home is a minor planet of an insignificant star. If it disappeared right now, who or what would even notice? And yet, so far we've found nowhere else we would rather live. Nowhere we could live. It's only now, far from home, that we're beginning to truly appreciate it. Look at all these stars. Hundreds of thousands of them. Surely one of these, more than one, must be capable of supporting life. Maybe here, in this swarm of stars, the Great Cluster. Back in the 1970s, astronomers sent a message in this direction, detailing the structure of our DNA and our solar system's location. But it's so far from home, the message won't arrive for at least another 25,000 years. We haven't found alien life yet. But neither have we found any reason to believe it isn't out here, somewhere. There's an equation, devised to estimate the number of other advanced civilizations. Crunch the numbers, and the result is shocking. There could be millions of civilizations, just in our own galaxy. Everything we have seen so far is inside the Milky Way. Now here's our chance to see other galaxies, to glimpse the even bigger picture, and perhaps to answer the ultimate question: where does all this come from? We are now ready to leave our solar system, our galaxy, and enter intergalactic space. Beyond the Milky Way, through the vast expanse between galaxies, against all the odds, we've made it to intergalactic space. Out here, there's no horizon in sight. Even the closest galaxies are millions of light years away. The remains of galaxies ripped apart by the Milky Way's huge gravitational pull. Scattered through, nothing. This is as close as the universe gets to a perfect vacuum. But even this isn't totally empty. There are thin wisps of gas, fine traces of dust, and something else. Dark matter. So mysterious we can't see it, feel it, taste it, touch it, or even measure it. Yet so common it could make up over 90% of all the matter in the universe. If dark matter does exist, it means there's no such thing as empty space. Even out here, we're surrounded by matter. We only know it exists because of the strange hold it exerts on galaxies, like this one, the Large Magellanic Cloud. More than 6 billion years in today's fastest spacecraft, 160,000 light years from the Milky Way, at the edge of its gravitational reach. This galaxy should spin off into space. But something is holding it here. Something invisible, powerful, dark matter. Stars, clusters of stars, nebulae. It's a vast astronomical treasure house. But look at this. It's like a string of gleaming pearls. It's a fireball, expanding out from what must have been a massive explosion, a supernova. So bright that when light from the explosion reached the Earth in 1987, it was visible with the naked eye. And so violent, it triggered a string of nuclear reactions, forcing atoms together, creating new elements: gold, silver, platinum, blasting them out into space. The gold in the ring on your finger was forged in a massive supernova like this, trillions of kilometers away, billions of years ago. Before we left home, the universe seemed separate. Something out there, up in the sky. We were wrong. The story of the universe is the story of every one of us. It's comforting to remember as we venture through this abyss. Further and further. Faster and faster. The Andromeda Galaxy, 2.5 million light years away. It's moving through space at nearly 1 million kilometers an hour. Everything in space is moving apart like shrapnel from an explosion. We're seeing this galaxy as it was when our ape-like ancestors first walked across the African plains. We go further through space, and further back in time. This doesn't look right. A whole galaxy exploding. The only thing large enough to cause an explosion on this scale has to be another galaxy. It looks like the end of the world, but we've seen enough to know things are never that simple. This galaxy won't die. It'll be reborn. A new shape, perhaps even new stars. As dust and gas collide, creating friction, shockwaves, triggering the birth of stars. There's order in this chaos, a pattern behind the infinite variety, an endless cycle of birth and death, creation and destruction. It's a pattern woven through the vast fabric of space that binds each of these galaxies. There are billions of galaxies in the universe, each with billions, even trillions of stars. Possibly more stars than there are grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth. And all of these are just the stars that exist now. What about the stars that have been and gone? All the stars being born, yet to be born. We're finally beginning to see the big picture, and it's grander than we ever imagined. This galaxy, the huge pinwheel galaxy, is so far from Earth that if we send a message home now, it'll take 27 million years to get there. Who knows whether our species, our planet, will still be around to receive it? Most likely not. We travel on, back through time. Past the point where the dinosaurs were wiped out. Past the moment where the first creatures clambered onto land. "2 billion light years from home. Closing in on the edge of the universe, going back to the beginning of time. This isn't a galaxy. It's brighter than hundreds of galaxies put together. A blinding beam of energy bursting out for trillions of kilometers. Something this big, this bright, must be incredibly powerful. Experience tells us, out here, power equals danger. It looks like a quasar, the deadliest thing in the universe. If it is, then our journey could be over, just as the end is almost in sight. The deadliest, most powerful thing in the universe. A quasar. A swirling cauldron of super hot gas, brighter than hundreds of galaxies. The source of this awesome power lies deep inside the heart of the beast. A heart of darkness. A supermassive black hole, as heavy as 1 billion suns. It's ripping apart whole stars, sucking their gases into the quasar, devouring them, until they're nothing, lost forever from the visible universe. We've seen the worst the universe can throw at us, the most powerful and destructive forces the universe produces. Now it's on to the very edge of the universe. It's almost within reach. We'll need to go further, go faster if we're to cross the final reaches of the known universe. $8 billion light years from home. More galaxies. But these look different. Ragged, small, close together. We're so far back in time, we're seeing these galaxies as they were before the Earth was even born. They're still young, still growing. We're getting closer to where and how it all began. 12 billion years ago. Look at the galaxies now. They're more like primitive plankton floating in a vast, dark ocean. It's magical. Clouds of dust and gas, dancing, forming a shape, merging to make embryonic galaxies. This is how our own galaxy was born. They're disappearing. We've gone back before the stars were born. Into a cosmic dark age. And before that, light. The afterglow from a massive explosion. The explosion which created the known universe. We're almost there. This is it. We've made it. The edge of the universe. 130 billion trillion kilometers from home. 13.5 billion years ago. The very instant of the Big Bang. The most violent, most creative moment in history. Everything that's ever happened follows from this moment. Every religion, every culture has pondered it. But we still don't know what sparked this act of creation, or why. This is where our journey ends, and the universe begins. An infinitely hot, small, dense point erupts. Creating space, time, matter, our universe itself. First, it's the size of a subatomic particle. The tiniest fraction of a second later, it's big enough to hold in the palm of your hand. Moments later, it's the size of the Earth. Today, the light from the Big Bang is still spreading out as a hiss of radio static. Your TV aerial picks it up. You can see it as static on an untuned TV. We go on, forwards through time, riding the blast wave. All the things we've seen on our journey are sparks flying out from the Big Bang. Galaxies, stars, planets, all just debris. Back through our galaxy. Our solar system. Until we reach another cooling cinder, swirling in the afterglow of the Big Bang. The Earth. We had to go back to the past to see our future. "3 billion years from now, the vast Andromeda galaxy smashes into our own. A new galaxy is born. The sun and planets survive, but they've been thrown into a huge looping orbit around the new galaxy. The sun is becoming a red giant, swallowing up Mercury and Venus, scorching our planet's surface, destroying all life on Earth. The sun dies, shrinking to a white dwarf. Neighboring stars are dying too, being replaced by white dwarfs, pulsars, black holes. The lights are going down on the galaxy. Since the Big Bang, the universe has been fading, dying, not with a bang, but with a long, drawn-out whimper. But there could be a way out, an escape route from our dying universe. It might be possible for our distant descendants to find a shortcut through space and time, a wormhole. If there are other universes, it could take our descendants from our doomed universe into a parallel one, where they could find another Earth, still in the prime of life. If they're lucky enough, they will live on in a new universe. A new home.